Hey, True Believers, Englentine here, continuing the Is the Sandman Really That Good? This time we're talking about Dream Country. Now, Dream Country is going to be a little bit easier. It's 4 stories. They're individual, not a lot of stuff going on outside of them, except for what they may say that's coming up sometime. So, why don't you sit back, relax, and let's get this party started. Same cover rules apply. They're awesome, but sometimes they just don't have anything to do with what's going on. Although in this one, yeah, we've got a young lady. She looks lorn and not lovelorn, just lorn and alone and kind of held captive. So that really does fit what's going on in this story. The book starts off weird, though, as we're introduced to a gentleman who is collecting hair from the stomach of a woman who ate it. Yeah, that's it. Really, really gross. But then we get this writer and 2 writers, one older, one younger, talking. The older guy's just ready to go, and he's ready to retire, and he tells a story. And the young writer's like, I need ideas. So the older writer gives him what has been giving him his ideas, which is one of the muse. Her name is Calliope, and she's where he got all of his ideas from. And so the younger writer takes her, and she's a slave to him, sexual slave, does whatever she wants. She appeals to her sisters, please help me. And they're like, well, we can't. You got yourself into this mess. You got to get yourself out. And we get the story basically of this guy abusing her for his own success. The longer she is around, the more ideas he has, the more success he has. And he actually, oddly enough, starts equating this with a feeling of love. Not just between him to her, but he actually sees it as she, in a way, loves him because she's doing this for him. It's not really prevalent. It's not a big part of the story, but it's undertones. And it's just wild that this guy would actually feel this way about a woman he knows he's holding captive. It's almost like an opposite of the Nightingale effect. Well, Calliope is able to get a hold of Morpheus, who comes in and says, he's like, oh, you can't take her. I would have no ideas. And he says, you want ideas? And he just tortures them with constant ideas. So he's always writing them down to the point where he's got bloody fingers. And that's the twist to this one. It's one of the, it kind of like the first issue, it's kind of like a Twilight Zone episode where, you know, it doesn't really have anything to do with Morpheus until he shows up at the end, saves the day, here's the twist, boom, let's go to the next story. Holy Toledo, with Sandman number 18, we actually have a cover that has something to do with what's inside the book. Seriously, I'm actually shocked and surprised. It's not a bad cover either. So the book opens, and we see a cat trying to get out, another cat saying, come on, you got to go see her, And this happens for a couple of pages. Cat, they escape their apartments, they get out, we see that they're walking around, they go, oh yeah, I hear the great mother cat's coming to speak to everybody, and I want to hear what she has to say, and blah, 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 yada, yada. And then we get to the field where all of them are hanging, by the way, the field's a cemetery. Anyway, and that's where we get the title, Dreaming of a Thousand Cats, and the cat begins to tell her story about how she was living with a couple, and she's purebred Siamese, I believe it is, and it was her time for love, and she had chosen her mate, and she had kittens, but of course they're not purebred Siamese, so the male owner decided to throw them into a sack and then into water, and she says, I heard my children die, and I still hear them today. And so she prayed, and she prayed for help until she got it. And what it is she met Morpheus, and he told her about a time when cats ruled the world. They actually used humans, as a matter of fact, as a source of food, until the humans collectively dreamt that they were in charge of the world, and that's when the fortunes reversed. That's when humans became the dominant species on the planet. And what her message is to all of the cats is that if they all collectively dream together that they are the rulers of the planet, they could take it back and they can own it, and the humans can't do things to them like spay, neuter, and kill their children when they're unwanted. And this just goes to show the power of dreaming. That's what, the whole book does. The whole Dream Country book does. And what this is basically how we could use dreams to shape our world. That's the basic theme to this particular story. It's one of my favorite stories in the book. And as a matter of fact, it's one of my favorite Sandman stories overall. I just like the message, and I like the way it's delivered. It's an interesting tale, and it's always interesting to see other people's ideas on how other species may take to dreaming and everything. So I was really strong. I actually like this one more than I do the next one, which got a hell of a lot more accolades and awards. Sandman number 19, A Midsummer's Night's Dream. This got all the awards. Seriously, this was a huge comic at the time. And I remember it won like a sci-fi award or something like that. And they even said from now on, comics can't be nominated or something because of this one. Kind of like Beauty and the Beast with Best Picture, I guess. So here's the thing. I like it, but I never got the love for it. And I understand the story. It's Sandman. He knows that the fairy folk are leaving Earth. As a matter of fact, it's even mentioned in the book that Earth, or Gaia as they put it, is not as accepting to the fairy folk as it once was, so they're going to search for their own pastures. And this is the way that Morpheus can make sure that no one forgets the fairy folk. He had Shakespeare write a play about them and immortalize them, and they will forever be in the hearts and minds of humanity because the play is so good. And this will make it as if the fairy folk had never truly left, and that's the general premise. But it goes to the premise of the entire book. The entire book of Dream Country is to show us the power of dreams. We don't forget. We're able to create. We may even shape the world, which is, that was the bit with the cats. So there's all these different kinds of ways that dreams have power, not just over ourselves and our own lives, which we're going to see in the next story, but in the way that we can and do shape the world. And that's very strong in this one, because this is all about memory. This is all about this is all about keeping stuff alive. We may not see it every day, we may not know it every day, but we still understand that it's there. We still understand that it's a part of us, maybe a part of our history, and that's what is supposed to be going on by writing a play for a bunch of people who are no longer going to be a part of this world. And mind you, this is a very good story. It is. I've read better. As a matter of fact, I think there are better in this book, and it deserves accolades, but I just never understood how everybody was saying this was the greatest comic book on the face of the planet. It is a very good comic, but sitting next to some of the other stories, it's a very good comic. Nothing more, nothing less either. And to me, that's a really, really good thing. Sandman number 20, Facade, is all about Element Girl, the female Metamorpho, and how she doesn't like her powers. This was a difficult book to review because it's the most simple story. And I was thinking, okay, how does this fit in with the power of dreams? And the silly thing is, and this could kind of tick off a few religious people, it shows that prayer is a form of dreaming. And what do you do when you lost faith in the dream? What do you do if you lost faith in your life? There's a saying that I use that is used here in a different way. I say you live the life you make for yourself. You keep yourself surrounded by the same people. You have only you can control the way you react to other people. We talk about the drama that goes on Twitter and everything, but it's your choice to react to it. It's your choice to listen to it. You live the life that you choose. The other thing that this book really addresses is something I really do wish a lot more comic books did, And that's the body horror of superheroics. In this case, she's completely transformed. And in some comic books, she will be like, aha, I have the power to turn into this, and I have the power to turn into that. But she's not human anymore. And why would somebody just immediately accept that? And we see that time and time again in comic books, except for here. Sure, Metamorpho wants to become human again so he could be with his girlfriend, but we just saw recently in the Terrifics where he was, and he gave it all up to go save his friends. Why? You weren't really necessary in the ending. Anyway, I'm very glad that this book tackled that, because I think more comics really do need to, or at least the negative effects of all of this. Like if you have super strength, you got to relearn how to touch things. Moreover, this, I got to say, was not my favorite book in the trade paperback here, or the volume, or whatever you want, in Dream Country for the longest time. It really wasn't. I was like, well, okay, it's kind of depressing. It's kind of, it really isn't worth it. And plus, and here's something that's a little bit of a trivia, this is a book where Sandman doesn't appear. This is the only book that he absolutely hasn't appeared in the last 20 issues. He appears for like half a panel in one, but he never appears. It's really good, and I'm glad I read it again. I'm glad I gave it another chance and looked at it a little bit differently than I had before. And in all honesty, it's a great way to end this particular volume. There you go, gang. That is Dream Country. It's just a collection of these 4 stories, and does it deserve its good reputation? Is Dream Country really that good? Yes. Absolutely, yes. Even if you added those 2 stories from Dollhouse that I said they should have, I would say this is absolutely worth it. I will put the Dreaming of a Thousand Cats as my favorite, and then probably Midsummer's Night's Dreams, Facade, and then Calliope. Not that it's a bad story. It's just less good. Anyway, that's my opinion on this subject, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell if you haven't done it already. Yeah, I know YouTube wants you to jump through a whole bunch of hoops these days. You got to make sure your Google alerts are on these days. Anyway, if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Ko-Fi, drop $1 in the till. This is a commissioned video. And if you want to commission a video, go on over to Ko-Fi. Just pick out your topic, pick out your subject, and we'll get that video out as soon as possible. I'd like to thank everybody who's already done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.